Merry Meet, Annie here. Today's reflection is from Thich Nhat Hanh. When I saw it, I realized I hadn't gone to the website recently to find out how he's doing. And the last thing they reported is that he had been taken to hospital with pneumonia, but was indeed headed back to the monastery in Vietnam. 93 years old. What a difference one person can make on the planet. From Thich Nhat Hanh. Earth brings us life and nourishes us. Earth takes us back again. Birth and death are present in every moment. That little bit from him, it's always a fine reminder in a season which honors birth and becoming that birth and death are taught to us in the cycle of the seasons, and the reality is present in every moment of every day. Perhaps easier to consider this while the land as yet wears its winter clothing. This particular reflection is a relatively new one in my journal. It made its way there, I think, just last year. Indeed, yes. I was reading an article on Thich Nhat Hanh, who had just a couple of months before, in October of 2018, announced he was going home to Vietnam, as he wanted to be in the land of his soul birth, the monastery he first studied in when his death came. What moved me at first was that when he arrived at the monastery, he went to a shrine, he lit a candle, and he touched the earth. That was his way of acknowledging he was home. That simple act of touching the earth. When Phap Dong, the monk who took over some of Thich Nhat Hanh's responsibilities, was interviewed about his teacher and his mentor's departure for Vietnam, he answered, "He's definitely coming back to his roots. He's come back to the place where he grew up as a monk." The message is to remember we don't come from nowhere. We have roots. We have ancestors. We are part of a lineage or stream. It's a beautiful message to see ourselves as a stream, as a lineage, and it is the deepest teaching in Buddhism, that of non-self. We are empty of a separate self, and yet at the same time we are full of our ancestors. A Zen light bulb went on in my head, which led to this being part of a reflection early in winter. I've moved through the season of the ancestors that resided within the season of water and the season of Samhain, honoring in a sense my roots. And now I arrive at the season of winter and the tides that will take me out and into the world as the result of my own lineage and everything that brought me here. In this moment, poised on the brink of moving forward, I have the opportunity to reflect again on those who have come before me, known and unknown. And I also have the sense of pausing to honor all of that which is me as I am. My physical body, my genetic makeup, my tendencies, and my potentiality. And as the quote that began this reflection reminds me, this is in essence not a real thing, for in the grand scheme of the cosmos, I'm already dead and gone. My time here is that infinitesimal. The birth and death of many resides within me, and I will be part of that and what moves forward when I am gone. Not in children or children of children, since I don't have children, but all the ways I have been present to and involved with the people in my life, whether intimately or by the smallest contexts. In the season when I begin to consider what I will be in the world, this reflection asks me to consider that in every moment of my remaining moments, I'm creating the ways in which I will live on. I ask myself, so I will ask you, what intent do you carry into your days that is your contribution to what will remain of you after you are physically gone? What of you will live on? A heavy reflection, perhaps, but one that can bring such joy. I lit a candle in my meditations this morning, as I always do, but before I settled into their quiet, I stepped outside and touched the ground. It seemed the right thing to do. And then I added something to my meditations from Thich Nhat Hanh's phrasing of the 5 remembrances that were taught by Buddha, his interpretation of them. I am of the nature to grow old. There's no way to escape growing old. I am of the nature to have ill health. There's no way to escape having ill health. I am of the nature to die. There's no way to escape death. All that is dear to me and everyone I love are of the nature to change. There's no way to escape being separated from them. My actions are my only true belongings. Listen to that one again. My actions are my only true belongings. I cannot escape the consequences of my actions. My actions are the ground on which I stand. How's that for a powerful lesson from Earth here in this season of Earth? My actions are my only true belongings. I cannot escape the consequences of my actions. My actions are the ground on which I stand. And then I sat down for a while, which is a meditation practice called Zazen, which simply means sitting. And not surprising, when I opened my meditation journal, I saw this quote from Kobun Chino, a Zen priest. When you realize how rare and precious your life is and how it's completely your responsibility how you live it, how you manifest it, that's such a big responsibility. And naturally, such a person sits down for a while. It's not an intended action, it's a natural action. This time in the season of Yule and these first few weeks of winter is indeed the sitting down time. It's not yet about action and movement, but it is about consideration of how to live and manifest our rare and precious life. It is indeed a big responsibility, worth taking the time to consider and to make the best choices for going forward. Will you sit with me to ponder our precious lives and consider what we will make of them? These next few months in the wheel of the year are about that very thing, and Earth, in this moment, in her time, whispers, sit, be still. Consider your precious life and the way forward. It's the way of the season. Which brings us back to Thich Nhat Hanh, who began this reflection. Earth brings us to life and nourishes us. Earth takes us back again. Birth and death are present in every moment. I wish you all birth and reverence. Merry part.